Now back to Chip Franklin on KGO-AM810.
Registered Republican all my life. Over the years, I've become a little bit more attuned into our current prison system. I'm frankly pretty appalled when I read that the United States has 5% of the world's population, 25% of the prison population.
That's a big part of America that most of the world knows that we don't, which is ironic, that most Americans aren't aware of the significant number of Americans that are in prison in this country, and a lot of it has to do with our arcane drug laws. Again, part of it pushed by a strong right-wing law and order thing that doesn't work, and in a cycle of poverty and violence in cities. It just goes on and on and on. We're joined right now by Bill Pillar, who is a former inmate at San Quentin, and is part of this documentary that is called the San Quentin Marathon. He joins us here on KGO-AM810. Bill, thanks for being in here.
Thank you.
Get right up on that mic like you're Elvis Presley for me. There you go. Okay, thanks. That's Nikki. Say hi to Nikki.
Hi,
Hey,
Bill.
Nikki.
So let's talk a little bit about you and then about the documentary. You were in San Quentin for how long?
I was in San Quentin for 7 years.
And are you from the Bay Area originally, or is it?
Yes, I'm from the Bay Area.
Yeah. And how long? So you've been out for how long?
I've been out approximately about 4 years now.
And how did you get involved in this documentary about the marathon? You're a runner?
Yes, I am.
No? What did you do when you were in prison? You can't really run in prison, right?
Well, yes, you can. All prisons, I was in other prisons before San Quentin, and I started running when I was in Soledad. I transferred from Soledad to San Quentin. So all prisons do have a track where exercise yard, where the inmates come out, during the day, the evening, and exercise and run and do what they need to do.
The heart of this film is about the high percentage of Americans and African Americans that are in prison today. When you were asked to participate in it, did you have any reservations? Did you have any thoughts? Did you really want to get your experience in it and tell them what it was like for you?
Well, at first, I really didn't know exactly, what it was all about. I just thought it was based on, an individual coming out of prison, running and, running the marathon in San Quentin. But, as time went on, I found out that it was deeper than that.
Yeah. A marathon is I ran it so I could tell people I ran it.
That's why most people run marathons.
But it is. It's true. It's true. But there's also something about it that's a metaphor, right, for life and for getting to finishing something. Would you agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. At what point did you realize you actually could make the 26.2 miles?
Well,
and then you ran it. You ran it after. When did you run the marathon? When was it?
I got to think back on that. I ran the marathon when I was in San Quentin. Maybe I was there about 2 years. And we came up with the idea to run a marathon.
At first, was it just something to break up the monotony?
I use it, that just break up the monotony running, to get away from the madness and, the stuff like that, to get in tune with myself.
Do you still run? Do you still get out there sometimes?
Yeah, I'm training right now to run this June the Beta Breaker. Not the Beta
Nice.
Breaker, the Dipsy run in Mill Valley.
How far is that?
That's 7.5 miles.
Yeah, that's a tough distance, 7.5 miles. That's like serious. Like 3.2 is like, yeah, I can do that. 7 means if there's a hill in there, it's like, oh.
There's a few hills in there. Not just a hill, it's a few.
Yeah. Do you ever wake up sometimes and think you're still in prison? Do you ever have those kind of dreams?
No, I always had, when I was incarcerated there, I always had a hope that one day, I would, be back out here in society. Even though I had a 25 to life sentence, I never gave up hope or anything like that. I knew it was people out here, trying to amend the California 3-strike law. And so, I stayed, up to speed with, the current laws and everything that was going on. So, now that, I'm out here, I'm focusing on me, my job, and family.
What was your third strike that got you the 25 to life?
Sales of a controlled substance.
Yeah, that's the thing that people don't understand about that is that, again, and what doesn't make any sense. I mean, some people should be in 25 to life, right?
Yeah, I agree.
You know, but I mean, not somebody that's just selling drugs to get money to buy drugs. Is that why you were doing it?
No,
No?
I was just
Just get money?
just to make money. You know, it was just, you know, a lot of people out there sell drugs because you know it's easy, it's quick money. You know, and you know that's why they do it.
So tell me about the experience of the documentary and being a part of it right now. There's a camera right in your face as we're talking, and you're handling it. You know, did you have I guess knowing that you were giving up a little bit of your life into this film and knowing that your past would be seen by a lot of people, did any of that bother you?
No, you know, I just thought about I wanted to support Frank Rona because you know Frank, you know he's a very good friend of mine.
That was a voice we heard at the very beginning, right?
Yes,
He's the coach, right?
yes,
The running coach.
he's the running coach.
Right.
And I just wanted to support him in you know in everything that he does, you know, for the club. So you know that's why I'm here today.
Phil, explain, I mean, for people that might not understand, you're not going anywhere. It's like when people train to run, they can run in beautiful scenic areas, but San Quentin, you're just basically running around in circles, I'm assuming. Like, can you describe what that actually is like?
Is one big circle, and
What was the loop? How long was one loop?
one loop is a quarter mile.
Oh, so 100 loops basically.
Yeah, 105.
Yeah.
105 loops to do the marathon.
Do marathon.
And was it a hard loop? I mean, were there ups and downs, or?
Yeah. I mean, we was running on, you know, the course that we was running on was a little bit of grass, you know, little jagged rocks sticking up, so you had to, you know, really watch where you was running, you know, potholes and, you know, things like that. So, you know, it was things that you had to look out for.
This is a crazy question. Is there anything you miss about prison?
No.
No?
No.
I mean, you made friends, obviously. And
Well, I have one running partner that we trained together for both of the marathons that I ran there. His name is Larry Ford, and you know Frank comes by the job every Friday, and he does training runs with them every Friday. So I always asked about him because him and I, you know, we really train really hard. So that's a guy that I enjoy, you know being with and talking with when I was there, and you know I just hope the best for him.
have you been back to San Quentin since you've been released?
No, I haven't.
Would you like to go back to talk to some of the young kids that are in there and just, you know, say, keep it straight?
Well, I would do that, you know, if I had the opportunity to do that, you know, because, you know, life inside there compared to what's out here in society now, you know, it's just a waste of your life in there.
Do you think that something like the marathon program and other programs that they have in prisons like San Quentin actually help with the rehabilitation process? You know, because it's the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation, and there's a lot of question of whether any of these inmates are getting rehabilitated because the recidivism rate is so high.
I would say yes, because a lot of people that, you know, I was the secretary of the club, and a lot of people, you know, they was enticed for a minute to come because they was giving away tennis shoes. Mm-hmm. So they would come there, they would come and join the club for that. But after a period of time, you know, they would find out that, you know, hey, this, you know, it was healthy. Mm-hmm.
You're outside.
You're outside. The guys that you were talking to that was serious about it, you know, they talk about constructive things. And, you know, so sooner or later, guys got, you know, they changed their way of thinking.
Because they're doing a lot of thinking when you're running, right? It's just you, the ground, and your thoughts.
That's it. It's a lonely sport, running. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow.
Well, the part of it I think about, you know, there's I've read a lot of books about this in my life, and I was always fascinated by, you know, looking over, going back in time, if you could, when you were a kid growing up. Today, when we see all the problems that cities have, you know, dad's gone, no jobs for families. Now we have this administration in talking about cutting funding for a lot of the stuff in these cities that would really make a difference in young people's lives. I remember midnight basketball. They had to fight to keep that. I'm like, it's basketball, mm-hmm. You know? And it's like, you've been through like something that 99% of the people listening here will never experience. And again, I'm going to tell everybody where they can see this movie, and I hope they do go see it. What would you pass along to people about the life in prison, what you would do differently, and maybe what we need to do differently to keep people from following the path that you led?
Well, first of all, to all the the young men and young women that's incarcerated in prison now, if they had the opportunity in front of them to be released from prison, that there's nothing like being out here in society, being productive, being a law-abiding citizen, doing the right thing, thinking about the mistakes that you made and learning from your mistakes and just trying to move forward.
Yeah, and it reminds me of that scene in Shawshank Redemption where he says he'd like to talk to that kid. What would you say to that kid that you were when you did the first crime that got you in the system? What would you say to him today?
There's no crime out there in society that you commit is worth being locked up, losing years of your life that you can never get back. And you're not the only one that's being hurt. You're hurting your family and everyone else as well.
Good stuff, Bill. I appreciate it so much. Again, Bill Pillar, a former inmate and marathoner. Maybe I'll run that thing in Mill Valley with you. All right, so it's going to be this Thursday night from 7 to 7:30. There's a run followed by the 9:30 p.m. Video. So you can do the run and then watch the movie.
Catch your breath. Watch
Yeah,
the movie.
it's at Runner's Mind, which is on Sacramento Street here in the city. We will tweet all that out, and you can follow it all there. Again, thank you, Bill. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate being here.
Say hi to Nikki.
Hey, Nikki.
Take care of yourself. Thank you so
I
much.
will. Thank you.
All right, coming up, we've got tickets to go see Dead and Company. If you would like to win the tickets, call me right now at 808-0810. We're going to play Alternative Facts. The Math Edition, it's Pi Day. That's all next. 808-0810 here on KGO-AM810.
We good?
You were great,
Thank you,
man.
guys.
No, seriously, that was great. That was
Thank
awesome.
you. I appreciate
It really came across. It really did. Now I know it's hard. It's like you did it. You're natural.
Huh? It's first time. It felt good. It felt good. A little nervous, but
Now you're good.
it worked.
Important story.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, yes, it is. Yes, it
It really
is.
is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I tell people this all the time, like I'm the most privileged person in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had a chance to be put in the system half a dozen times as a kid.
Right. Right.
And sometimes because my dad was a cop, but my dad was, I don't want to do all this. Can I not say this? Is that all right? But so, like a lot of